Good morning. I want to welcome all of you. My name's Carol Iman, and I'm the chair of the Mayor's Volunteer Recognition Committee. Did any of you, besides the mayor, come from the Wild Irish Breakfast? A few of you, okay. Well, I want to warn you, I think those politicians have professional joke writers. We don't have those here.
That's why I'm going to be so much.
Run for governor, maybe you'll get one. Okay. So our conference today is sponsored by the Mayor's Volunteer Recognition Committee, and this committee was started in 1987 by Mayor James Donchis, and it has a mission of recognizing Nashua volunteers and enhancing the quality of local volunteer programs. And it's also a way to provide a professional support network for people who manage volunteers. I want to thank the members of the committee for all their help in working on today's program. Can they stand up? I have a feeling some of them are still working, but not here. Margot, stand up. Thank you. And I also want to thank the Hunt community in Nashua for providing that nice breakfast. I hope you all enjoyed it. From time to time, the Mayor's Volunteer Recognition Committee recruits new members. And the requirements for membership are that you need to be someone who's in a position that includes recognizing the work of Nashua volunteers, or to be an active volunteer with an organization that serves Nashua residents, and be someone that helps enhance the quality of their volunteer programs. So if you think you might be interested in joining the committee, just feel free to let us know. Also, on the City of Nashua website, our committee maintains a list of agencies with volunteer opportunities and links to their sites. So if you would like to be listed on that web page and you're not, in your program it tells you who to contact and how to get your agency listed on there. Under Mayor Bernie Streeter in 2006, our committee instituted an award that's given not to an individual volunteer, but to an agency whose work with volunteers we think is exemplary. We gave the award out for 5 years, and it didn't have a name, and then finally last year we figured out we needed a name, so it became the Gate City Light Award. Oh, nice. Sample of which you have here, and I know some of you in the room are from agencies like the AARP Tax Assistance, which received the award, and Home Health and Hospice. I think there's a couple of people here, and Big Brothers Big Sisters. I think so too. We also always welcome nominations for future award winners. And this year we'll be giving the award on April 10th at the Nashua Board of Aldermen meeting. And the other thing that recently occurred to us, once we got a name for the award, was that there's many agencies, there's 6 or 7 agencies now in Nashua that have one of these in their office, and I'm sure they proudly display it, but there's no way for the rest of the city to know who's won the award. So we put together a plaque, which I'd like to present to the mayor now, and I'm hoping that you can find a place in City Hall to hang it and give proper recognition to all the wonderful volunteers.
It's not going to be long before you need a bigger plaque. That's right, you can always get a second one. Well, good morning, everybody. Well, that's pretty good. Good morning, everybody. There you go. I go to schools a lot, and well, look, we're in a school. I am talking to the microphone, for goodness sakes, okay? Are you happy now? I'm looking at the camera guy in the back. All right. I see that there are some people that were at the Wild Irish Breakfast this morning, too. Whew, got out of there by the skin of our teeth. You know, that was a breakfast, of course, honoring the Plus Company, who, when you talk about volunteers, you can't miss how many volunteers are in there involved and engaged. We are such a fortunate community. We have an amazing amount of people that volunteer. I have the honor and the privilege of appointing people as volunteers to over 30 city boards and committees. I have appointed over 300 people in the last 4 years. I mean, just think about that. For appointments, some of which are significantly more difficult than others, Think about the zoning board. Yikes, right? It's not quite the same as some of the easier lifts. But one of the things that is so important is that we have the heart and soul of our community as volunteers. I mean, just look at the turnout here today. You know, it's a Friday morning, and you're here, and you want to learn more information about how to work with your volunteers, how to work with the media, how to get your message out, how to help a volunteer feel like they have a role to play. I used to tell people there's nothing worse than getting a volunteer and having them not understand what you expect of them. They feel very unappreciated, but worse than feeling unappreciated, they don't feel useful. And people volunteer because they want to feel useful. They want to feel like they're making a difference. So it's great, and I'm very proud of the committee. I mean, think about it. The committee has been in place since 1987, as Carol said. Do you know how many committees lose their oomph by now, and they don't have new members or people engaged and willing to participate? But this committee finds a way to keep refreshing itself, finding a new way to be relevant to those that need them, which is really, really important. So Carol and all the committee members, really thank you for what you keep doing month after month. And this conference, what a great idea. What a great idea. Which means I also have to turn around and say thank you to the folks from the media that are here and willing to help. Maybe I should stick around, learn a few tips. Anyway, it's great to see you all. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Proud to display the plaque. And again, as you know, volunteers, the heart and soul. I like to say there's a quote that a woman said once that was, volunteers don't have more time necessarily, but they certainly do have more heart. And that's great. I think it's a great quote. So thank you. Enjoy your conference. The good mom. I have a box for that.
Looks like.
Okay.
Okay, so as you know, our purpose today is for you to learn how to pitch your news about volunteers to get maximum exposure in Nashua's print, online, TV, and radio media outlets. So here's the plan for the rest of the morning. Each member of the panel will have up to 4 minutes to introduce themselves and their organization, their publications, their programs, and their audience. Then I'll be asking some questions of the panel, and because of the differing natures of all your organizations, some of the questions will be directed to everybody, but a lot of them will just be individually directed to one or two of you. Now, in that portion of the program, if any of you have a question that you want something clarified, feel free to raise your hand and ask, but we will have plenty of time at the end for questions as well. All right, so we'll go and do our introductions. Just want to remind everybody to turn their mic on when it's your turn. Donna, do you want to start?
Sure. My name's Donna Robertson. I'm the features editor at The Telegraph. Telegraph has a lot of publications that work for volunteers. We have Neighbors section in The Telegraph, which is community news. We have Encore, which is our arts and entertainment, so anytime you're having a fundraiser, a food event, any kind of party, that's Encore material right there. We also have the Cabinet, which targets the towns of Milford, Mount Vernon, Amherst, Wilton, and Limeboro. We have the Merrimack Journal, the Bedford Journal, and the Hollis Brookline Journal. So a lot of times what happens is if you send us a word of an event, we sort of share it around the newsroom. If you were hosting an event, for example, a taste of something in Merrimack, we would use that in Encore. We would also share it with the Merrimack Journal, potentially Neighbors. So there's a lot of, just by sending one email, there's a lot of ways to, a lot of different publications to get your news into. We have a calendar of events that runs throughout publications. That is free of charge to any nonprofit or to any free event. That is 150 words or less for a calendar listing, which can be emailed directly to me, which is on the handouts we provided, my email address. We also have a way for you to submit your own stories online, and a lot of people don't necessarily know about this. If you go to nh.com, that is our statewide website, and it's got a calendar of events for the entire state, and you can submit your own event online. You can also go to telegraphneighbors.com, and that provides you an opportunity to submit a full story and photos that goes right up online. And Susan Clark over there is our community news editor, and she is always willing to work with people if there's questions about, well, how do I submit this online? What should I include? Anything like that. Our Encore website, which is encorebuzz.com, also has a place where you can submit articles for any type of art, entertainment, or food event you may be hosting to raise awareness about your cause, fundraise. So that's also an option. And then cabinet.com is our cabinet press website. And that is the Cabinet, the Merrimack Journal, the Bedford Journal, the Hollis Brookline Journal, so any of those towns, you can submit to the Cabinet website as well. There is a slight delay. It doesn't go online immediately. We check it to make sure that it's appropriate. But usually within about 2 days, you'll see it online, and it's a great resource that you can utilize yourself, as well as emailing us with your stories, calendar listings.
My name is Teresa Santoski. I'm the arts and entertainment reporter for the Telegraph, so most of my work runs in Encore, and you would get in touch with me if you're having an event that I can write a story about, something like a fundraising concert, or maybe an art show where the proceeds from the art sales are going to support your organization. The main thing that I'm concerned with are angles on the story. So when you get in touch with me, you would want to tell me what's new about your event, what's different about it, anything that I can really get across to the readers that, you know, this isn't just an ordinary concert, there's this thing that's special about it. And another thing that's helpful for me is to have resources from the organization to put together the article. If you can say, oh, we have this person, and this person who would be great for you to interview. Here's their contact information. They're expecting your call, and they're going to be available. That's like a dream come true for me. It makes my job so much easier to have the information accessible and the interviews available. So I guess that would be the main thing, would be the angle for the story, and then the resources to put that story together.
My name is Jeff Maccheroni. I'm the news writer with the Hippo. So I'm kind of just general news. So anything that isn't arts, entertainment, nightlife, food, that's me. And so we're a weekly, for those of you who don't know, we're a weekly based out of Manchester, and we're covering up past Concord, south. And there's 4 full-time staff writers, just so you know. And we try to provide a little bit of everything. And so there's different ways that you can get in touch with the different writers and get your information out to them. We have an extensive listing section, so that can be really anything. All the different sections within the paper have listings that go along with it. So those are just little blurbs about events or workshops, things like that. It could just be simply a call for volunteers. That would be a something we would use as a listing, which you would send to listings@hippopress.com. And with that, the best way to get it there is kind of building off what Teresa said, but if you can have the information, even if you just box the information, the basic time, date, who, what, when, where, all that stuff, that can all be kind of front and center. That's probably the best and the easiest thing on the listings front. Listings are space available, so if your listing doesn't make it in there, it's not because we don't like you, it's because we just had to cut it off somewhere. And I know the listings coordinator likes to get things 2 to 3 weeks in advance. On the story front, news@hippopress.com is going to be your friend there. Feel free to send things directly to me. And one thing I know I have to mention, because I pooled the other writers, and their big thing is if you think you have something that's a story, not just a listing, but something that's worth us doing a full story on, don't attach a press release. Put it into the body of the email. That's probably the single biggest thing that I heard was, I mean, we'll open the attachments eventually, but if you have the text in the body of the email, we'll see that. We will look through that, and we get lots of emails just like everybody else here does too, but when we're constantly scanning those inboxes, so that's very key. And photos, send photos. There's only 4 of us, so we don't have a photographer on staff, so if you have photos, send them our way. We love visuals. Yeah, I think one other thing I just mentioned is I think the squeaky wheel applies. If you send a press release, go ahead and follow up. I mean, it doesn't guarantee that we're going to do anything, but it's certainly we're going to remember you. Your press release, your listing isn't as likely to get lost in the flux if you're calling to say, hey, did you get that? And we'll be straight with you if it's worth a story or not. So don't hesitate to do that. That probably covers it.
Good morning. I'm Carol Robidoux, and I'm with Nashua Patch. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, it has nothing to do with quitting smoking, which I've been asked. It's not that kind of patch. Nashua Patch is a relatively new phenomenon here in Nashua. We launched exactly 7 months ago. Today, it's my anniversary. And it's been around a couple of years nationally. We have 10 patch sites now in New Hampshire, and I can list the towns for you if you want to know, but we really only care about Nashua here. Also, we have about 850 sites around the country, so if you're visiting relatives in someplace else, you can probably find your news there also. It's something new and different. It's hyper-local coverage of communities. I've been a journalist for 20 years, 10 of those here in New Hampshire doing traditional print journalism. And I've fielded plenty of phone calls, emails, and inquiries from people such as yourselves and nonprofits wanting to get things in the paper. And I've had to do sort of, mental gymnastics to figure out a nice way to tell people that mostly we're writing news here, and you can send that into a list and hopefully someone will see it, but chances are we're not writing a story about your event, which is disappointing and hard to say to the people that probably put the most time and effort and heart into a community. So I'm happy to say that as part of Patch, and I'm pretty much your go-to person for everything, and I love that total control. But we have one thing we do have. We're very dedicated to volunteerism on 2 levels. First of all, we try to dedicate about 5% of our space online to volunteerism, and so most local charities qualify for free advertising space. I can talk you through that. If you want to talk to me afterwards, I can show you how to find that link on our site, and you can inquire about getting some free space, real estate, really for an ad of some kind that won't cost you anything. Secondly, I'm supposed to work at least 5 days a year doing something in the community, volunteering my time with a local organization. So dibs on me. I'm not committed to anything yet, except the soup kitchen. But I'm happy to do way more than 5. If you need hands, I've got them, and if you need some time, I'm interested to know more about your organization. To that end, we have a link on our page, which I can again show you afterwards where you link directly to Ready to Volunteer or Need to Volunteer. So if you're a reader of Patch, you can find opportunities to volunteer placed by people such as yourself who are looking for volunteers, and you can specify what you're looking for. Other than that, we have an events calendar which is interactive. You can go in yourself and enter your event yourself. You can upload the photos yourself. If you don't have those kinds of skills, you can call me or email me, and I'll get it up for you. I try to get everything up, the day I get it, the moment I get it. If it's happening tomorrow and you still have tickets to sell, call me or email me, and I'll try to promote it. We run across all social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and of course, being online. Our goal is to just reach people where they are. It's a little different than what I've done my whole career, but I'm really enjoying interacting with people in this new platform, and I feel it's journalism 2.0. It's the next thing. The smarter our phones get, the more we need to kind of keep up. So for those of you who use your phone for everything, you can find information on your phone as well. But it's a kind of a new concept, but I'm really happy to talk to anybody that would like to know more about it, and come see me afterwards. I might even give you a little patch swag.
Thanks, Carol. I just wanted to point out there is a table up here with some handouts on it, so if you hear the speakers referring to handouts, that's where they are. Okay, Andrew?
Good morning. My name is Andrew White. I'm from Access Nashua. I feel like an old hand. We've been going for a whole 8 months now, and so we knock Nashua Patch. We offer community TV, which is new to Nashua. It's very exciting. It really is a great opportunity. We provide your TV. Well, how can we do that? We provide your TV. This is a TV station which is for you to use. So we provide the technical assistance which gets you on the air. There are probably 3 ways is where I can classify that you can use it. One is a simple bulletin board, which is a slide, a PowerPoint, a JPEG, which will be up on air for 5 to 8 seconds. So we don't need copious reading on that particular one, but some very simple call for help or a plea for help. That's one way to do it. The other one is a PSA, a public service announcement, which is a short, cryptic, probably 2 to 3 minutes. It can be a collection of videos, it could be stills, it can be whatever you want. You'll understand as you work with Access Nashua that we are not content critical. Well, that's not true. We are critical of the content at times, but it is your content. It is your content. It is what you want to put on the air. It's what you want to make of it. We will help you do that. So you think about this, and through the good graces of the Mayor, thank you, Mayor, this is a free service that the city offers you. It's free. Technical assistance, and it goes on the air. It's sometimes hard to sell because people go, yeah, free. It's free up until a point where you have to put in some time. But we're there to help you, to get over the technical issues, the fear you have of TV. Everybody has fear of TV. But the fear of doing it, come down. We'll make it easy. We will make it so painless, you'll come back. I promise you that, you'll come back. So anyway, the PSAs, they also do the shows. We are prepared to put shows on. We're looking for local content. We are desperate for local content. We want you to provide the TV for community of Nashua. So we've put on shows. The Community Chapel of the Nazarene had a Christmas show. It was an hour plus. We showed all of it. Before Christmas, that is, not afterwards. There are people who've put together PSAs. It's whatever you want to do. Kevin is a good example of somebody who's used the TV station very effectively and has put on a current affairs program. In fact, he has 2 or 3. How many programs do you have going, Kevin?
I got 2. I'm working on another one.
He's working on a 3rd one. They say, so come quick, grab the space before Kevin takes it over. Seriously, it is your TV station. We welcome you. Just give me a call. We'll help you, whatever you want to do. If you don't know how to put a bulletin slide together, we'll do it. Just tell us what you want to put on it. We're available. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a cold. My name is Jeff Painter, and I am the PEG manager for City of Nashua, and with a focus on the city government. And our focus is a little bit narrower in that we than the other 2 channels, in that we cover the Board of Aldermen committee meetings, city seminars. We also produce programming pertinent to the city about divisions and departments. So we're definitely informational as far as what's going on in city government on the government channel. We also run a bulletin board that gives out information on what's going on in the city, excuse me, and as well as what scheduled meetings are coming up and what replays of meetings. We're also streaming on the internet from the city's website for Channel 16. That's really it for the government channel. The other two channels are far more open on things. Our focus is a little more narrow and, like I say, is more informational. That's it.
Okay. Pete Johnson. I run the education channel, Nashua ETV, for the city, and I'm tasked for working with the educational institutions in the community. So I work closely with the Nashua School District, other parochial schools like Bishop Girton, colleges, the Nashua Library, Historical Society, any place that could be considered an educational institution throughout Nashua. So we're there. Might tune in, we're on Channel 99. We have a lot of Board of Education meetings and committee meetings, but I also have a lot of time open for events in the community that are educationally related. So we also have a bulletin board, so anybody who wants to put information on about an educationally related event that's going on in the city, you can either contact me, or there's a spot on the city website and also on the Nashua School District website with a form you can fill out online that will get that information to us as well. We also cover school events that are going on. Somebody may ask why we don't cover certain events. We don't have a lot of time or a huge staff, so it's good to get information to us in a timely fashion. I typically would say, to have adequate time, we need 3, maybe 4 weeks notice of something that's coming up so we can get it on our schedule. I can't tell you how many times I can't do something for somebody because they tell us a day in advance, and it's just not enough lead time for us to react and be able to do something for them. So especially for bulletin board announcements, those types of things. And it's better for you. If I can run those for 3 or 4 weeks, more eyeballs are going to see those within that period of time than if I'm only able to run something for 2 or 3 days before your event. So keep in mind, though, they are for educationally related materials. So if you're with one of the colleges, we've done some things in the past for the Nashua Historical Society, so anything that's educationally related. And I think that was all that I had. If you have any questions, feel free to check with me after the program.
That's me. Well, I see a lot of potential people that are out there that could come on my show. It's called Gate City Chronicles. How many of you have seen it? Excellent. There's one, too. Mayor, I'm telling you, this is a great opportunity for the public. I love what's going on here. Gate City Chronicles is basically a weekly magazine show. I get to meet you, you get to get your story out into the public. I've interviewed Little Iguanas back there, right? And NCCA over here. Have anybody else in the audience that I've interviewed? Okay. Here's an opportunity for you to sit down, have a nice glass of water with me, and talk on TV. If you prefer something a little stronger, nobody can tell, but we haven't had that problem yet. We basically highlight what's your story. We've had everything from the NCCA, the Little Iguanas. We've had political people on our show. The Red Cross, you name it. If you have an event, you can come on the show. We'll help you do a PSA. We'll have a long conversation or a half-hour conversation, whatever you're comfortable with. We'll get it out on the air. It'll air at least 5 days a week. And we'll also send you the hyperlink. And if you want to add it to your website, then you can send it around the world. It's great. It's a great opportunity to get your message out. Like Pete said, it doesn't happen overnight. It'll take 5, sometimes up to 6 weeks. depending upon how much we're backlogged. Right now, we have about 9 shows backed up, and we can make an exception because of time sensitivity. But there's nothing to be afraid of. You come in, we sit down, and we have a conversation. Just like we had with the soup kitchen, as we're standing right here. What's going on? What political problems are you struggling with? What events are coming up that you'd like to talk about? What are the benefits of your program? You'll see, it's very easy to do. And a lot of people are starting to use my show to sound off to create their own show. Dick is, he's not here with us, but he introduces me to a number of people that say, hey, Kevin, meet such and such. They're going to be starting their new show on Access Nashua. They'd like to come on your show and be a springboard. So I kind of ease you into it. And there's a lot of room for a lot of us. Now I have Gate City Chronicle, and did I hit the light? Did I do something? Nothing happened. And I have a second show called Speak Up New Hampshire. And as some of you can see, I'm a state representative, and I sit on the Redress of Grievance Committee in Concord. And it's a new committee. And one of the things that about this committee is we get to see a lot of the things that the average people don't get to see. So we're giving people the opportunity to speak up and talk about their problems that they're having with the state. So that's another show to be interested in. We're on Channel 96, and like I say, it's your city. Come on the show. Get your message out. Thank you, Mira. Really, this is a great opportunity.
Jeff?
To add something to Kevin, our studio is open during the week, most of the time. Come down and see it, and come and visit us. It's very comfortable, and you really like it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, so we'll get started with some questions. Some examples of the types of news stories that I think members of our audience might want you to cover would include, say, a major project that their volunteers have just completed. Maybe they've given an award to one of their volunteers, or maybe their agency has received a grant. So I'm going to ask this for, say, Donna, Carol, and Jeff Muzzaroni for the, what would make that, I think you talked about it a little bit, Teresa, but what would make it newsworthy? What would make it stand out? Everybody wants to know how they can get it on the front page, of course. And maybe not that, but maybe the front page of Neighbors, or maybe on your home page. So can you give us some ideas for those types of articles, how we could make them stand out?
Well, first of all, photos. Photos are huge, and they should be sent huge. When it's this big in the email, we can't put it in print. So I highly recommend that you send high-resolution JPEG attachments to us. And basically, you can certainly, again, call Susan and work with her on creating your own print article with photos. You can also go to neighbors.com, and what we have is when you post an article, it is the newest article, so it goes kind of right at the top. And Neighbors is a great resource to get your volunteer news out. You can grants, awards, anything like that, and we definitely want to see your photos, and the bigger they are, the better. Don't worry about clogging our email. Just send as many and as large as you can, and also identify the people in the photos, identify what's happening in the photo, so that we know that this is a local thing. When we see it and we see so-and-so of Nashua, we know it's local, because sometimes we can get as many as 1,000 emails a week. And that's just in the features community news section. That's not the Telegraph as a whole. And so sometimes we have a tough time putting the organization to the town and letting us know what town you're from. That's really helpful.
Well, I think we're very interested in hearing nonprofit stories, for sure. So, reaching out to us, and it's kind of, I guess the key is kind of explaining to us why it's it's worth a story. And that sounds basic, obviously, but all of your organizations are great causes. So just being a good cause, a great cause, might not be enough each time. So if you're receiving a grant, that's something we might be able to put a notice in the paper. But I mean, unless we're talking about a major grant that's going to allow you to start some new program or some new campaign, that's probably not going to turn into a story. But if you do have an interesting project or a campaign going on, that's definitely the type of thing that we would be more likely to write a full story about. And definitely, as Donna said, photos and big, high resolution, if you have them, that's fantastic. And I think something to keep in mind is we are a weekly, so a lot of times the writers, this isn't always the case for me, but the other writers, they have stories planned out weeks in advance. So if you send something and you don't hear back, well, I mean, we might not do anything with it, but it might just be because a writer's 3 weeks out before they can even think about starting to work on something. So just keep that in mind. The other folks up here talked about being timely with submitting things. That definitely applies to us, and maybe more so because we are just a weekly. We have an online presence, but it's just the weekly paper online. So we definitely have kind of some hard deadlines in that regard. But we're looking for compelling stories all the time. So if you have things that you think are worth it, let us know. If you think you have interesting people within your organization, let us know.
Yes, I underscore everything that was just said. And I would add that I think people's stories are always interesting to people. People like to read about other people. So if you can highlight the human interest part of anything that's happening, that's always going to catch someone's attention, particularly at a newspaper when they're looking for a story to rise above just a listing or something like that. So keep that in mind. I feel, all of you being involved with volunteers probably come into contact with some of the most motivated, busy, extraordinary, selfless people in Nashua. And so maybe you're so used to that, you kind of don't realize how extraordinary someone's accomplishment might be, or how amazing it is that somebody has done something, selflessly for, 785 days straight without stopping or something like that. There's always those kinds of things, but try to step back a little bit from your organization when you're thinking about contacting the press, and think, what would I want to see if I was looking at this? What would catch my attention? And spin it that way, so to speak. Media loves things that are different or things they've not seen before. So try to look at it with an eye for what might get other people interested. And beyond that, of course, things that are, you're trying to get people to participate, you're trying to get people to come out for an event or to volunteer or to donate. If there's a critical need in your organization, highlight it. 3 cans of soup left at the soup kitchen, that'll probably get front page play, and we'll probably rush out and take a picture or two of the last 3 cans of soup. But I mean, things like that. But certainly call if you're not sure, or if you don't know that somebody got your email. Follow up, always follow up, and get someone's ear. I think, as Jeff said, the squeaky wheel sometimes, it's not for lack of interest, it's just for being inundated sometimes with so much volume that you lose track of, oh, I was supposed to call her yesterday. So that's something to keep in mind.
And Kevin, a similar question for you. How do you decide what kinds of stories to put on your show? You're backed up with 9 different stories, you said.
Yeah.
How do you sift through them?
Well, I really don't edit too much. I basically, I was just kind of making a list of all the different types of shows that we've had on. We've had on Fody's Restaurant, Pastor Heileman, Jazz Basketball, Occupy Nashua, and I hosted them. And I'm a Republican, I'm sorry if I have to make an apology. But it doesn't really, I don't really screen too much as long as you're respectful. and you want to get your story out, and we'll have a conversation. That's really, it doesn't matter, provided it's a good cause. But I do like to invite local businesses. We've had Allegro Dance on. We're trying to get the cupcake lady on from down Main Street because Dick wants cupcakes, right?
Absolutely.
So does the rest of us. We've invited Carol to come on the show at some point, and anybody. It really, if you're interested, if you've got something to talk about, we'd love to have you. It really doesn't matter. I do like to ask people, though, when they come on the show, please send 10 questions you want me to ask you, because I want to highlight you. That's the whole point. Why you want to come on the show, and then maybe when the camera's not looking at me, I'll look at the next question, and I'll ask you, and we'll have a good conversation. But it really is to highlight you. And you never look at the cameras, we just look at each other. We have a good conversation, and you get your message out. So.
Okay.
Can I just add one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I meant to say, but the Hippo, two quick things. In terms of event coverage, we're probably not going to be there. That's just because we're a weekly, but we'd be more doing previews for your events. So we want to hear about your events, but it's probably unlikely that we're going to physically come and take photos and write a story. We're going to do something in advance. And the other thing is that if you do send a press release, be ready for our call. I don't know when it's going to come. It might not come. But if you think it's story-worthy, just be ready, because nothing will bring the reporter down more if they think, okay, this is going to be a great story, and then no one's responsive or they can't talk for several days. Something like, obviously I understand you have things going on in your lives, but that's just something to keep in mind. If you put a name and phone number on it, be ready for a call.
Okay, just to warn you, the next question, we may have to stop for the break in the middle of it, but it's the basic one. What should we include in a press release? What do people forget to include? What kind of, besides the actual story, what other information do you need? You want to start, Donna or Teresa?
They forget the basics. They forget to say. They forget the basics. They forget to say where it is, when it is, how much it costs to go. They forget to include contact information for somebody to buy tickets or to get more information. So always make sure you have the basics of your event in there.
I'll jump in. One thing that's helpful sometimes, if you have a quote from your director or a stellar volunteer, somebody who wants to say something like, this event changed my life last year and now I'm a dedicated volunteer or something, that would get people interested. That helps to include, even for a quick hit type of thing. If you've included a photo or a video, which we can handle, or just, sort of you want to get something out there, that helps to enhance it or elevate it from, a listing column to maybe a little brief or a little standalone, always include information about cut lines, first and last names, double check the spelling.
Carol, what's a cut line?
I'm sorry. Cut line is on your photograph. It identifies the action. Mary and Joe Smith were eating pancakes at the soup kitchen on Friday because it was pancake day. And don't say Friday, say, March 17th. Don't take for granted that everybody knows those things, and that everybody knows that that's the director, or that that's the director's proper name. And spelling is important, because people hate spelling mistakes, and we hate them also, but everybody makes them. So try to double check before you send information, those types of things. Names, spellings, and titles are important.
Is that the bell set? Oh. So I thought it was 10:30. All right, can we wait 7 minutes and then take our break? Okay.
Could I just
Oh,
jump?
no, wait. We'll keep going until we hear music. Okay.
Could I jump in on this last question, if I might, just, at the station, we also provide PSAs. It was brought up just a little while ago. Although they're not press releases, they are public service announcements. One of the things that we like to do is we'd like to invite to either your children or the kids from the high school to come in and talk about your event. They read it from a little card, they stand in front of the camera, and they say, well, today there's going to be an activity, or this week is going to be an activity at the soup kitchen, and we're looking for some volunteers, and it takes 30 seconds. They read it from a cue card. Those type of things we can pretty much air the next day or even that night, and it runs continually. And the nice thing about it, the kids get to say, hey, I'm on TV, and they get your message out because they tell all their friends. And so another way to get your kids or the kids involved with the media, with public access, get them behind the camera and have them tell your story within a minute or two. And everybody has fun. They walk home that night, they see themselves on TV, they tell all their friends, you got your message out. It's a win-win.
I'll also bring up that people were down here were mentioning the basics, give the basics of information, and some people might not understand what that means, but there's an old adage, the 5 W's, and you remember who, what, why, when, and where, and to make sure all of that information is included, whether you're providing something short for the bulletin board services that we offer on television, or something a little more lengthy that might be put in a newspaper or online. So always make sure that information is included. You don't want to leave somebody looking for something and they're going to have to call back. That's the one that gets put aside because there's more work that has to be done there, and they move on to the next one. So just make sure everything's included.
And I would just also add that at least from my perspective, don't worry about formatting so much. We get so many different formats of press release that, we're not going to run a press release as is. So I guess you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time with getting the right letterhead on your press release. Just get us the information. Again, we get so many formats. It's not worth your time to make it look fantastic, I guess.
So that's something I forgot to ask. So it doesn't really matter if you put the text of the press release in the email or if it's a Word attachment?
Oh, I definitely, I beg you to put the text into the body of the email, but that's right. So if you feel you must attach the press release as well, that's fantastic, but just if you get it all, just paste it all into the email, even if it doesn't look as good as you want it, that's okay, because we're not judging you on that. But the body of the email is so key, because we will see that, but we might not open an attachment, or we might not open an attachment in a timely manner. Format, at least for me, for the HIPPO, don't worry about that. Body of the email.
Carol and Teresa.
I would just throw into that if you do have a poster for your event, or somebody has taken the time to create something, a visual, like something that you're going to hang around town, and it's a PDF, for example, please attach that, because we can use that to highlight the item, rather than sending a headshot of 5 people smiling, which is great too, but this would be informational, and it's clickable on our site at least. So that would be a good thing to attach. And I think, as Jeff said, it's up to you. Time saving, I think, is key for most of you. And I've seen people, I've been approached by people via email that say, I've really never done this too much before. How do I write a press release? And that may be partly why you're here. And I think there might have been a time when it seemed like a more formal process. Nowadays, things have changed to the point where the information really is the key part of that communication. There's no right or wrong, but it's important to make sure that you, maybe in the subject line of an email, say event April 2nd or something, so we have an idea that you're not calling you're not writing to complain, you're writing to say something. Not that we delete those, but I'm just saying. Kidding. But so it's if you can add a little information in the subject line to get someone's attention, and at publications where there's multiple people, maybe call ahead and say, I'm sending in a calendar listing for an event in April. Is there someone I should direct it to? Probably whoever you contact by phone will say, oh yes, please send everything to Jeff, or, you know. So that one phone call might help get you seen. Or call ahead and say, hey, I'm sending this now. Is this your email address? And then they know who you are. So always get a couple feet in the door whenever possible.
This is another question for you, Carol. Since you're relatively new in town, you may not get as many press releases as other people. So how do you seem to be on top of everything that's going on. How do you keep your ear to the ground? Where do you get your news information?
Well, I spend a lot of time sitting here behind my computer. I really sometimes I go to various sites of organizations. There's tons of great calendars. The city has a few really good ones that they send to me, actually. The library, for example, is very faithful in sending press releases over the weekend, so I can get that up, and arts calendars and things like that. But I'll go looking at sites if I'm thinking about, Boys and Girls Club or something. I'll go to their site and see if they have anything posted that says. And I find a lot of things, churches too, that way, that you find a lot of websites are great. They're great at sort of putting stuff up for their own circle of people that come to them. So really you just have to be, if you're doing this, long enough, you notice things on Facebook, on your own personal page, or we have a Facebook page for Patch also, but you'll see that's probably one of the greatest sources of information now. So many organizations even use their Facebook page to say, hey, everybody sign up for empty bowls, or come on out, we've got lots of empty bowls to fill. And I see that and I say, oh, empty bowls, that sounds great, and I'll put it right on the calendar. Or Twitter, which I don't know, raise your hand if you've tweeted. Yeah, so Twitter is sort of more like people who have information like to give information to other people that like information. It's sort of one of those things, but you can still find things out that way too. Mm-hmm. So the whole social media and online way of putting yourself out there is catching on for media types too. We kind of are watching everything to see what's happening, and it's like whisper down the lane electronically. So. Thanks.
How about video? Can you tell us, do you accept submissions of video from the public? And if you do, if there's certain formats or technical requirements or lengths that you'd be looking for?
Yes, is the answer. Next one, no. It's, we will be delighted to accept videos, whether it be a short video, or it's even still photographs, or a 30-minute video. We will be delighted, and if we can, we will show it. The format really doesn't matter, apart from the fact open reel tape would not be welcome. It really doesn't matter. We will take any format. You've all heard these funny things like MPEG-2s, MPEG-3s, flash files, blah, blah, blah. It gets very confusing. Well, I get very confused after a while. But seriously, if you send us whatever format you have got, that will be just fine. And we can take it and we'll blow magic dust all over it and it'll work. So don't worry about the format, including the bulletin slides, as we mentioned earlier on. That can be any format at all. In fact, we can take JPEGs, we can take PowerPoints, we can take Photoshop files and so on. If you can't do that, and if you're a little bit worried about the fact that you can't do that, don't worry. Just send us the text of what you want to include. And we have got graphic designers who volunteer, aren't they good? And they will get hold of your stuff and they'll work wonders on it. You might not like it, but it'll be a superb design. You can't critique the design, it'll be just brilliant. So don't worry about the format. And again, technically, don't worry about the technical aspects of the tape or the CD or the DVD that you've got there and you want to get on the air. Which reminds me, by the way, just if I could just carry on, Carol, for a second. Thank you, Cal, for reminding me. One of the things about Nashua, the Access Nashua, is that it is a local TV station. It's a community TV station, Channel 96 from Comcast. However, it is also on the net and it streams live, which makes it international. We also have the facility through NHCCM, the New Hampshire Community Media Services, whatever it might be, which is a collection of the local PEG stations in New Hampshire, to put it up to a server and they can pull it down again. So you can actually show your PSA, you can show your show, whichever it might be. Could also be seen in Keene, can be seen in Peterborough, can be seen in Plymouth, can be seen in those expensive neighbourhoods like Hudson, Hollis, or whatever, where you might find volunteers, you know. Hollis, you might find money, you know. It's just important to remember these things. But it is Nashua-centric, but it isn't just Nashua. So people in Manchester can watch it, people in, say, Peterborough can watch it streaming live on the web. So just go to our website, www.accessnashua.org, and it's all there.
I would add to that, we can also do video, you know, if you have a video file you want to send, if you've posted something on YouTube, we can fully access YouTube, and we have a very quick and simple way of attaching that to a story or a notice. So if you've already posted something or somebody in your organization has, just think carefully about video, because it's a very popular medium, as everybody knows who's spent, you know, hours at work looking at videos, funny videos. But the thing about video is you should keep it short. People, if you haven't caught their attention within about 20 seconds of a video, you're moving on. The viewer isn't going to stick around for the you know, most important part of the video, which might come at 1 minute and 39 seconds or something. So if you're utilizing video, it should be effective, like somebody, you know, getting an award and the applause and the tears and the hugs or something, you know, and it can be relatively brief. That's great to capture a moment if you have someone who's at an event that none of us managed to show up for, and you want to capture that moment, or it's a surprise award or something, and you can get that on video, even with your cell phone. You can send that along, and we're happy to try to include that if it translates, if it's, you know, good enough quality to view. And, you know, like these guys, you know, we're not going to be too picky about it. If it's something that you want to share, just keep in mind that, you know, you are sharing it with everybody. So make sure that it's got maybe adds something to the story you're trying to tell.
Teresa, do you take video?
Yes. Again, YouTube is the easiest, simplest, best way to do it. If you upload it to YouTube and send us a link, that's really all we need. And again, I would echo, keep it short. People don't typically watch an hour-long video. 1-2 minutes tops.
Okay. This is for you TV guys, maybe mainly for Kevin, but let's say that we decide to take your challenge and actually come and appear on a TV talk show. Can you kind of walk us through what's going to happen? Well, first of all, how to prepare, what to bring with us, what to wear, and, you know, what's going to happen when I'm there? Am I going to have a mic? Am I going to, you know, what's going to go on? Many people have never been on TV. So.
Wonderful. That's a good question. What I like to do in advance is, if you're going to come on the show, basically you'll email me at Gate City Chronicle or speakupnewhampshire at gmail.com. I'll get we'll have a little bit of correspondence. I'll ask you for 10 questions, and I'll look at the questions. I'll look at them, and we'll talk basically about your organization a little bit online. You'll come to the television station. You are not going to wear green. If you wear green, we will see right through you, literally, because we have the green room for the most part, right? Which adds a little bit of headaches for the engineers, but that's fine. They're really good at what they do. You'll come in. We'll set up a mic, a little mic, put it on you. We'll hook it up to you, and you'll just basically sit right there at the table, and we'll cue you in as to look at the camera in the beginning. Just say, hey, this is Gate City Chronicles. Welcome to the show. I'd like to introduce my next guest. I like to pick on the soup kitchen because I really want you on this show. So we're talking about the soup kitchen, and I'll introduce my guest, and then we'll just look at each other, and we'll say, so how are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me, how long have you been with the soup kitchen? So what's new? What's going on? What do you want the people to know? How can they get in touch with you? Where's your, and we'll go on that way, but it's really that basic. You walk in, you sign a little release form, and you sit down, and we have the conversation. I ask you the questions, And then any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with the viewers?
So
think the-
is it live or is it taped?
It's
or-
all taped.
So you could edit out, if we
Oh.
messed up, you could edit something
Oh,
out.
I do that all the time. Yes, as a matter of fact, usually it's within the opening. I'll say cut, and we, sometimes Dick will in the back room say, all right, try it again, and we'll try to introduce the show again. And if there's something that you might have said or sneezed or maybe or something, it's really quickly, we edit it out so it isn't live. And I don't know if the technical guys want to talk a little bit about that.
I think you want to try to avoid editing if possible. It does put a lot of extra time in for somebody behind the scenes, and there's not many people there that are doing that at the moment, and that's part of why there's a backlog in getting these shows edited and ready for airing on part of the folks that are helping with Access Nashua. If anyone's interested in learning how to edit and wants to come down and volunteer, I'd be more than happy to teach them.
Yeah.
I think Andrew earlier mentioned, that they'll provide technical expertise, and that's true to an extent, but the real part of public access television is training, getting people trained to come in and produce and do their own programs. The part of the contract with the city isn't that they're supposed to produce the show for you. It's there to train you to come in and produce your own programs. So there's just a couple of people that work there, and if they get bogged down in producing only 2 or 3 shows a week because everybody needs that kind of help, then it sort of slows everything down. So the whole idea behind public access is to get you in, train you guys how to produce your own programming, so you sort of become self-sufficient, hopefully, and they help you get started with that, and that's what they're there to do. But
And we have one non-profit that's used as heavily, the Humane Society, and they have got 2 people who we're training right now, and they've borrowed a camera this weekend, and they're going to go shoot the Pet of the Week, and they're going to come back and edit it, and that, to my mind, is a perfect client. Absolutely perfect client.
One thing you will notice right off the bat when you come into our studio, unlike most other studios, if you've ever been in one, is you walk in under those lights and you melt. In our studio, it's all high-efficiency green lighting. It took us a lot of research to do this. But I think, Kevin, you'll attest to this. There's no heat. You've got these lights, and I think one of the quickest ways for somebody to become nervous or forget what they're going to say is under the old tungsten-type lights or halogen lights. Our lights are like these lights here. They're plenty bright, but they're very comfortable. You'll sit there and you'll forget you're in a studio. So that's a great plus.
And finally, we really don't, when we're having our conversation, there really isn't much to edit out. It really is, it's really easy. You're just having a conversation. We're just having a conversation with, like I said, a drink of water.
And we'll give you more guidelines. If you want to come on Kevin's show, which I urge you all to sign up for before you leave today, if you want to do that, then we will provide you with guidelines, because green, you don't wear green, you don't wear spots, you don't wear stripes. There are a number of other important guidelines to remember.
All white.
All white, that's true. White shirts are a bad thing, they really are. But what you put on your feet, we really don't care. It's important to be comfortable, and at the end of the day, that's it. And it really doesn't take any time. We talk about miking you up. You put a mic in your lapel, you put the backpack down here. It's a wireless remote. You can move around with it. It takes probably to do a half-hour show. It'll take longer to find the studio than it will do to record the show. Seriously, longer to find the studio.
We're putting a sign up, though. There is going to be a sign on the street. Been promising that for months.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop the questions there. Just a minute, Cal. And I just want to mention one other thing, is not to overlook other forms of local media. For example, I was thinking of Great American Downtown. Rebecca's here somewhere, I think. There she is. Okay, they have a weekly or every other week newsletter, every other week, and they feature events in there. And obviously they focus on the downtown, but, well, she's not sitting up there. She's somebody that maybe should be on your media list. And I'm a member of City Arts Nashua, and I do their monthly newsletter. So any arts-related events or news, if you want to send that to me, we can probably put it in our newsletter. So it's good to subscribe to all those different types of newsletters, so you're aware of them, that they're there. Okay, so now we'll go to the question and answer portion. When you ask a
Carol?
question,
I just want to say one other thing. You also have radio in town here.
right, we,
you know, and that's somebody that's
WSMN,
not
there's a
here.
couple of programs. Mark Cookson, the alderman, does, I believe he still does his program on Nashua. Is there still Art in Action?
I don't know if Robin Ann is still doing that, but Ed Lecious is doing one for the Chamber of Commerce still. So there are a couple of local shows that you can get on there, and if you
Right.
contact the radio station, they'd be
Right.
happy to let you know who.
And there is contact information, there are email addresses for all of today's speakers in here. I told them all to bring business cards, so hopefully they have them, and if you want phone numbers, you can go up and grab them from them. So if you want to ask a question, you do have to speak into the mic, so wait for Stacy to come around with the mic.
If you could just say your name and your agency.
I'm Cal Neckerbacher, and this is really not a question. This is a comment having to do with the televising. I was on Kevin's show just Tuesday of this week. I've never been on television before, and let me tell you, it was easy. I don't know how it's going to come out. I haven't seen it yet, but at any rate, so just editorializing, it is as easy as they try to make it.
Thank you. Thank you, Cal.
I'll tell you a little secret, they have a teleprompter at the TV station.
In advance, we need it in advance. Yes.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann from the Salvation Army, and just a quick question. Jeff has said that he recommends putting the body of a press release to put it right in the body of your email. Is everyone else agree with that? Is that how everyone else prefers to receive it?
I'll take them any way you send them. I'll open every attachment you send me.
In the past, it's always been recommended to send them as attachments, so this is actually the first time I heard it differently, so I was just curious.
It might be quicker, and I'll let you explain. I think it's, when the volume of email that probably each and every one of us gets is huge compared to the average person, and so sometimes if you can click quickly or scan your email and see, oh, this is an event, oh, this is a comment, oh, this is a correction, it's easier to just be able to open and see, which is why it helps to put something in the subject line. But me speaking strictly for what I do, attachments are fine if you already have a document made and it's easier for you to just upload it and attach it than to type it in, especially if somebody's done it for you or something like that. That's fine for me. I'm happy to accept that.
And it's not, I wouldn't, I'd like to think I'd get to everything and open all those attachments. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would say if you did do up a press release or something that you have more formal, if you can just get the gist of whatever it is into the body of the email, and then if you want to attach a press release, that's fine. And if you think you have something that's like really a big story or something that you think is a full story, if you have other information like fact sheets, things like that, feel free to include those as attachments. I'm not anti-attachment, but it definitely, scanning that, the inbox is much easier to just have the gist of it at least in the body of an email.
For me, part of the issue is document formats. I have a PC, and sometimes I'll get attachments from Mac users, and I'll open them, and there won't be text, or there will just be characters. So when things come in the body of the email, it kind of eliminates that possibility that I might not be able to open the attachment. So if it comes in doc format, that's excellent. The attachment is fine, but anything other than that might be challenging to open.
Other questions? No? Should I ask? Oh, there's one. Wait a minute.
You don't have to yell today. I'm Bridget Cooley, Boys and Girls Club in Nashua. we have a bunch of different stuff, not just volunteer related, but between events and things that are going on with our kids. Is there an appropriate balance of how often we should send something new to you? Like, if my boss had his way, I'd be sending something new like every 3 days. So what's like a good balance between keeping you up to date of everything that's kind of going on and not going, oh my gosh, I'm going to blacklist her and send it to a file and,
Well,
in
one
the
of the
pit.
important things to remember, we can't blacklist you. Much as we'd love to, we can't do that. No. Seriously, it depends. It's all up to you. At the end of the day, Bridget, it's up to you. How much time have you got? And if you can remember to do this. If we get bulletin slides 3 or 4 times a week, we'll change them and we'll put them up. It really makes no difference to us whatsoever. In fact, we are delighted to have a full bulletin board that gets the shows down to 6 seconds, whatever it might be. We'll be thrilled to do that. We've got other stuff up on the bulletin board which we'll be glad to see the back of. Some of them are just whatever. Which it's a good point. We'd love to have photographs of Nashua, Nashuans, whatever it might be. That would be good. But seriously, if we could get people to forward the bulletins on a regular basis, therefore we could catch the events as they come along, that would be very pleasing. So don't hold back. Don't feel nervous you're going to get because you won't be blacklisted. Promise you.
For us, space is not an issue as it is for some, newspaper purposes that they run maybe a weekly calendar or something. So I would encourage you to send, I hate to use the word promiscuously, but I like to use it because it underscores I don't think that you can send too often, especially if there are things that are really happening that are relevant to your community. This is, we want to reflect your community back to you and what's important to you. We also have a section for bloggers called Local Voices. So anybody among you who has the urge to write, in prose a little bit about what you're doing, or, this week from Boys and Girls Club kind of thing, the adventures, the hurdles, the ups and the downs, you can feel free to sign up to do that, and you can submit a blog every day. You can write 2 a day. You can write 1 a week, 1 a month. But it's a way of getting your voice engaged with the community. You can send pictures, you can upload videos, you can send in event things that are happening as you see it, and it adds to the it's not just my voice telling you what is important or happened or how it happened. So it comes from your own perspective. So that's something we encourage. And again, I don't think there should be a limit on what you submit. You're that enthusiastic, I hope you're Volunteer of the Year next year. And that's wonderful. That's what every organization needs, somebody who thinks that everything that happens is newsworthy. That's great.
And also, I think like at the Hippo, we're always looking for stories that maybe we aren't going to do a feature story on a single nonprofit, but maybe we're looking at things like how do state budget cuts affect nonprofits, and so maybe we're talking to 5 or 6 different ones. So with that in mind, if you're sending lots of stuff, then there's a better chance that you're going to be on our radar, so that when the time comes for us to write that story, so-and-so has been sending a lot. Maybe we'll talk to her about how things are going with the Boys and Girls Club, because frankly, if you send a lot of stuff, we can't ignore it. So so don't worry about that. Send us, we're looking at the stuff, but I mean, I would echo what's already been said, that you're not at risk of sending too much.
And I would also, again, encourage people to, beyond email, go online and post their own stories. We are not limited by space on the internet, so if it's newsworthy to you, go to telegraphneighbors.com and tell people about it, and upload a photo and let people know what you're doing in the community.
I would say that, not to be frustrated, it's going to be dependent on how much space each of the different media has Carol here has a lot because she has the whole internet out there. The Hippo doesn't have nearly as much because they have a weekly newspaper. There's a finite part to that. I have a finite number of hours in a day that I can schedule programming or bulletin board announcements. So, don't be offended that something you send in doesn't get in there one time, and maybe by sending things more regularly and being on people's radars, then that relationship is built, and when they can get in, they do, so.
Any other questions from the audience?
I'm Kendra Lothar, excuse me, and I'm from Big Brothers Big Sisters in Nashua. I was wondering for the interview if you limit it to just one person being interviewed at once, or if you could have two people being interviewed for Kevin. I guess.
Absolutely.
Two people?
Yeah. Oh, two people, yeah. We've actually, we don't suggest it, but when we did Occupy Nashua, I think we had 5.
It becomes more difficult the more people you have on. It's
Right.
a rather small set, but certainly 2 or 3. I would sort of say try to limit it to 3 if possible.
The studio has 3 cameras too, so that we have the ability to go to different people.
Yeah, and the more you focus on you, the better it is.
Right.
Instead of me. 'Cause
Unfortunately, the way that Access Nashua is taping a lot of the programs uses this green screen technology that they were talking about. And when you have more than one guest, that shot includes the 2 people that are there as guests or the 3 people that are there as guests, so you can't concentrate on one person. If you're taping a more traditional program and you have a camera operator out there and you can move between the guests as they talk, that's one thing. But the way they're doing most of the shows isn't that way, so there would be 3 people on the camera at the time you're talking, so.
If I may make one other suggestion, when you do have the 3 people on, for instance, we had Best Fitness on there just recently. You probably want a spokesperson so that other people will add to the conversation, but you probably want a leader of your interview.
Right.
I don't mind going to the other people saying, hey, so what do you think about that, or what's your opinion, or how you want to go with that. But one person, so that the cameras will probably most likely focus on that one individual. But again, other input would be fine. But
Okay.
Yeah, there are creative ways to do it.
All right. Thank you.
Before we break, so you can have a chance to talk individually to the members of the panel, I just want to remind you about our survey. There were some out on the table today. It's basically asking you questions like how many volunteers you use, how many hours do they work, so that our committee can have some citywide data about that sort of thing. We'd like to get 1 per agency, so if there's 5 of you here from one agency, just 1 of you can do it. And also, you can do it online if you want. The website is listed on the survey. Okay, so thank you all very much for coming, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.